love you guys.
Dance off, bro. I have the high ground.
Expecto Patronum!
39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor. On the Tribe of Nerds.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Kevin and I are here to talk about the final movie of the Cornetto trilogy, The World's End, which is a movie. It's a funny movie, but definitely the weirdest of the trilogy.
It is the weirdest in a lot of ways. However, what happened, and I actually liked this one better. I still like Hot Fuzz the best, but I like this one better than the first one.
That's fair. I mean, there's some good like filmmaking stuff. I don't hate this movie. I like it less than I have in the past, but it's still like it's still an enjoyable movie. Just not as much as the first two for me personally. The World's End, the critics gave it 89%, so they loved it still. The audience was lower on this movie. They gave it a 72%, so the audience really did not like this compared to
I'm on IMDb, and IMDb has this at a 6.9, but Shaun of the Dead at 7.9 and Hot Fuzz at 7.8. So the audience liked this one significantly less.
So I mean, it's still fresh, but yeah. And then the box office, it made 46.1 million, which is more than Shaun of the Dead, but less than Hot Fuzz made. So yeah. Well, yeah, let's get into this, like, further impressions of this movie for you, Kevin.
I thought so I appreciated the like the more complex characters, right? Like these people who were best friends as teenagers and now have grown up and they have like different variations of like jobs and problems and like leftover issues from their childhood. Like I did appreciate that. I didn't know that that really belonged necessarily in a comedy about robots having their heads ripped off. Spoiler alert for what a 11-year-old movie.
For an 11-year-old movie.
They robots with blue blood who get their heads knocked off. I did appreciate that it was still like practical effects. So like the practical effect of Shaun of the Dead when like they're holding his legs and he gets ripped out the window and like very clearly like they're holding doll legs and they try to fall back at the same time and they like I appreciated the kind of continuing that kind of silly nature of like this is actually like a dummy that we built with like a head that just kind of pops on and like
right
you can see the attachment point. Like I like that kind of like silly choice, but I just liked it better than Shaun of the Dead. I think Hot Fuzz had the best balance of like I think Shaun of the Dead was not serious enough, but I thought this was too serious. I thought Hot Fuzz had the best
balance,
like balance down the middle of like just the right amount of like silly and a serious like story happening.
Absolutely.
Like this is a little dramatic at times. I was a little like, I mean, guys, I do want to laugh. Like I feel bad for the like struggling alcoholic here.
So let's talk about the struggling alcoholic, Gary Kane, or as he gets called later in the film, King Gay. But which was hilarious. That is one of the funniest lines of the movie.
Yes.
But yeah, so Simon Pegg in the first two films, he's very much the straight-laced character, as we talked about in like messages and stuff. But then like here, he is the struggling alcoholic. He is the messy character that is very unlikable. Like in the entire movie, I really struggled to like this character, especially now. Like I feel like I laughed at him more when I like on my first couple watches of this movie, and here like he still has funny lines, but it's just like I just don't really care for this character because he doesn't care for his friends, honestly.
Right. And like, so like I have successfully and unsuccessfully tried to send people to rehab, right? Like I
Yeah.
am like no judgment of people with addiction issues, but like I just didn't like that's not what I'm looking for in this type of comedy. So
Mhm.
like it's not that I didn't like him, right? Like I sympathized with him that like especially the big thing he has at the end of like his life has sucked ever since like the reason he wants to do this is because they didn't finish it when
Yeah.
they were 18 and you know his life has sucked ever since then and he's been chasing this moment again like that was the best night of his life and he's never had anything he wants something that good again like I like sympathize with all that but like aliens came over and turned people into ageless robots who
Yeah.
bleed blue like
Right.
it's supposed to be a silly movie so it just didn't like mesh for me it wasn't even like likability or unlikability it was just like yeah I feel bad for this guy but like I don't want to feel bad for somebody while I'm watching this type of movie.
Right. And it was just odd as well because like the younger Gary Kane, like obviously, I mean, I know it's drugs and stuff. He's been abusing drugs, so of course he's not gonna look at all the same as when he was younger, especially with that. So, but it was just like his younger self looks nothing like Simon Pegg. Like I like you're good. Um like you can't tell me that younger Gary Kane is gonna grow up to look like Simon Pegg.
Right like they didn't even like try to find somebody who looked like him. um no but I mean I still did I don't know, like I think I liked the individual pieces of this better than I like the individual pieces of Shaun of the Dead, right?
Mhm.
Like I didn't that Ed character in Shaun of the Dead,
Yeah.
throw him out. He's annoying. I don't like him. Like I liked the characters. I just didn't understand the point of like them being together for this movie. So
Yeah.
I think that's why I liked this better than Shaun of the Dead.
Well, and I will say Nick Frost's character is not as good as Danny, but what is it? Anthony is his name.
I don't remember any of their names.
Yeah, well, I know Martin Freeman is Oliver, there's Peter, and then Steven, and then I think it's Anthony here.
Yeah.
And so like I uh I like this version of Nick Frost. Like, yeah, he's now the straight-laced character after being the bumbling idiot or the
Right.
lovable doofus.
Yes.
So like it was an interesting shift, and like I actually very much sympathized with him through the beginning of this movie. Like Gary Kane has screwed his entire life up. Like he has not been a good friend to him at all, but he's
Right.
still gonna be a nice person and like try to help this guy out who considers him a friend.
Right.
So
Yeah, it definitely was like reversal of the like the like straight man versus the funny man, right?
mhm.
Like which kind of like okay, so what's the movie? Is it the one where Tina Fey and Amy Poehler reverse roles too, which is also like similarly just like not as entertaining, where they're like sisters and they have like a house party at 40.
Oh
I
geez.
forget the name of it, but like
Oh, I'm sorry. His name Nick Frost plays Andy Knightley. I'm very
right,
sorry.
right.
Yes.
No, you're good. So like sometimes I think they try to flip that, and I think this is one of the times where like it just like I think he works better as like the funny man, and Simon Pegg works better as the straight man.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. Absolutely. It's very difficult to see them in these reverse roles. Um but yeah, and then like, he goes back on being sober for like 20 years or whatever. Uh which is an
Right,
interesting decision, which I honestly might have preferred if Andy was just this character that stuck to like being sober the whole time. I
right,
don't know.
right. Yeah, that I would have also appreciated that from him.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. Like I said, I like the like what was who's the other one? The friend who was like that guy before they figure out what's going on, and they're like, that guy was such a bully to me. Like,
Peter's bully.
yeah, he's like, he was such a bully to me, and he treated me so badly. And like, it's not that like he didn't make me nervous, like he didn't make me uncomfortable. It's the fact that he looked right through me, like he didn't even remember me.
Right.
Like all that shit that you put me through, and you don't even remember it. Like this has affected me my entire life, and like you don't even remember what I look like. Like I like those sorts of things, but like that's not what I came here for.
Right. Well, I can sympathize with that part a little bit, but also, yeah, we didn't come here for that to be in the movie, although it does lead up to Peter trying to get his revenge on his bully later on in the movie before
yes.
he is taken.
And he definitely gets taken. And I remember, I forget like exactly how it happened, but I remember thinking that it was very much related to like him kind of always wanting to be in the in crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that when they're running through the woods?
Yeah, and he's drunk and laughing at King Gay, and then then he gets taken after standing up to his bully. Yeah, and I mean they do tease that at the beginning of the movie. They say Peter and Oliver never made it the whole time, so it's teasing that those are the two that are not going to make it to the end as like regular people. Mm-hmm. So I did appreciate that on this rewatch of being like, okay, so they did tease this to us at the beginning of the movie.
I didn't even notice that, but that's good to know.
Yeah.
So there's still some of that because they do a lot of foreshadowing in the other movies too.
Yeah, I was trying to keep track. I didn't find this one either as much as like I know Michael pointed out stuff in Shaun of the Dead in like comments and stuff, and then Michael and I were pointing out like and it was more like I don't want to say obvious, but it was more like shown in Hot Fuzz, obviously all the callbacks and everything. Like they did such a good job of showing you or telling you and making you remember when these things were said earlier, and then they come back. And I don't feel like this one was as much. I remember that being said. I remember the thing about Oliver having the birthmark, and then he had laser surgery to remove it, and then it was back, and that's how they figured out that Oliver was not himself anymore. So I know that, and then I remember like the fence gag because they did the third fence gag in this trilogy, where he tries to climb over the fence and then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they do that every single movie. All right. I mean the other characters. I mean Steven as well. I kind of like Steven. He's also the guy. He was also one of the Andys in Hot Fuzz with the mustache. And yeah, so that's the same actor.
Okay.
And I did like Steven in this one. I feel like he was a character that very much cared about his friends, cared about Sam. And like, he was very like he's always been interested in her and attracted to her and wants like the best for her. And then you have, of course, like the fact that he has to deal with Gary also being attracted to her, although like again, Gary just wants her as like, her.
He just wants to say he has her. He doesn't actually want to be with her.
Exactly. So I can appreciate Steven for that. I also think it's funny, like when you think he gets taken to, but then he comes in, it's like it's the Three Musketeers actually.
Yes.
That was good. I don't know how he survived, but it's funny.
Well, because he was one of them who made it to the end of the night, so he had to make it.
True.
Yeah, I found it like the idea of Pierce Brosnan, like
yes,
like respected actor standing on the film stage, and he just has to open his mouth and be like, "Ma."
I know, that was hilarious.
They have to add in the light coming out of his eyes and mouth. Just like,
oh my God.
They done to you.
Yeah. I remember from initial watches of Pierce Brosnan being the teacher, and then they bring him back in the middle of the movie to like try to manipulate them into joining the cause. And I thought that was actually pretty brilliant. Again, I like these androids have like they do some clever stuff to try to manipulate these drunk people into
Yes.
joining them, like getting the teacher, getting Oliver to like getting him on their side, so then he's like guiding them through to the next bar to make sure that they can get turned. And I love like that's pretty much like you can tell when the turn happens because it literally happens when he goes to the bathroom in like the sixth or seventh bar, and then he comes out and he's just super happy because they're like all the androids are like just super happy and satisfied instead of being sad and drunk. So um so I liked that as well. Martin Freeman actually getting something to do in this movie was nice too.
Yeah.
So
Him by the end when he
half his head is gone.
half his head is gone and it's just hollow on the inside, so then he has like the like volleyball for the top half.
Yes, yes.
Continue to be a realtor. Hilarious.
That was absolutely
funny.
hilarious.
That's the thing, is that like that's what I expected more of. So like if they had done more of that and less of the seriousness, I think I might have liked this even better than Hot Fuzz. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the ridiculousness was still there, so it was funny when it happened. And other ridiculous stuff. I mean, there's still some other ridiculous lines. There's Gary Kane's like monologue about drinking, which I shared on the page as well. That like I can't even repeat the whole thing, but at all. But that whole monologue, and then the exit pursuit by a bear. Let's boo boo. That's a great line. I think we have to end the podcast like that.
But like it's also funny too that like all three of these movies deal with like the first one's about like zombies who are just like mindlessly following things, and the next one is like people in a cult, right, who just like, and now this one is like people who just like they're all kind of like saying something about society and like the general public. So I do understand them wanting to be serious because clearly they've had serious things to say.
Yeah.
I wanted a little more humor. But
absolutely.
I did like Rosamund Pike. I did like her.
Yes. Yeah, she was good. Sam was good.
She was good. She was a good addition to this like group of people. She came in at the right times.
Yeah.
And like when when the guys are fighting the robots, right? When they're fighting the blanks. So like they very much fight like you know, guys with dad bods who like used to go drinking 20 years ago,
right?
Who, like are now in a bar fight and they gotta like try to not get killed, right? They are very much fighting, and like she very much fit into like that, you know, like she didn't come in as like a super like great ninja or something, which would have been funny in its own right, but would have been like not like that wouldn't have worked, you know, like, and she wasn't just like a defenseless like damsel in distress, like
right.
But she like very much fit in with them of like, yeah, I used to brawl 20 years ago and now I guess I gotta pull that out again.
Yeah. Other moments, what the fuck does WTF mean? That was good. And then the marmalade sandwich. The strawberry blonde, or the blondes and then the redhead in the middle. Those were good. And then like other kooky side characters, you get the Reverend Green and like him not like kind of just being like he's being manipulated to like not say anything about what's actually going on, and then like he gets forced to become an android because he reveals too much.
Yes.
And
I
then
liked the custodian from Hogwarts.
Oh, Filch, as a Basil.
Yeah, and he's telling them everything that's going on, and then just like disappearing back in the shadows. They're like, "Where'd he go?" And then like he even appears in like the big like thing at the end.
Yeah,
And
they're like,
he's
Basil.
like,
He's like,
I
I'm not
haven't
here.
agreed. And they're like, where did you come from? And he just goes away again. Like, that was a funny gag.
And then no, and then his last scene is like when they're going out, when the whole town is exploding. He's like, run. He's like very much like running very slowly.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And I was like, yeah, that's because I recognize that too. It's like, that's Filch.
Yes.
And I think he was Arthur Webley in Hot Fuzz as well. I think.
Yes.
So yes,
The guy who couldn't talk. They had to
Yes.
have like 3 translators. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good character.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't think of any other like notable ones because it's a smaller cast. It's like compared to the other two. I mean, Hot Fuzz had the biggest cast, and I think it was the best cast. So
Hot Fuzz had the biggest cast, but they also like a lot of them were small roles, but they were memorable roles, right?
right.
Like they're only in it for a scene or two, but like
they all have memorable lines and moments.
So this is like a smaller cast, but they're all in it for more of it. I do generally like. I think the idea that like this terrible thing starts to happen, and so the alcoholic is like, well, that's an excuse to keep going on this journey, right? Like I appreciated the like he's like, no, we got to do it, and the rest of them were kind of like, well, actually, yeah, we do actually have to kind of keep doing this because like otherwise they'll realize. But like they're kind of differing motivations. I did think it was like the final scene where they like the world's end like goes down to the ground.
Yeah.
That was a little weird.
Yeah, well, and like they literally tire out like the AI so much that they give up. Like it was
Right.
just so like that's such a weird thing to like annoy them to. I know it's happened in other movies with other villains, but this was it just was weird for me for that to happen. But yeah, my other favorite moment is when like they're manipulating him again, and they're like, "You can be what you once were," and they bring out the younger selves. And Gary King's like, "Oh, I look so cute," and then he's like, "But nah," and he breaks the head off his younger self.
I also like I appreciate like again the idea that like no, I'm not my younger self anymore.
Yeah, I did like that. That was a good moment. And one thing I will say is by the end, when the whole apocalypse is there, Gary King does become sober because when they go into the one bar in the apocalypse, they order waters.
But that's because he has moved on to a different addiction, which is now like leaving these blanks around.
Right,
So,
exactly. And like the commentary on like, racism towards blanks now, like is really pretty clever. So yeah, I enjoyed this that part. So I mean like it has very good moments.
it has good moments. Like I said, I like all the individual parts. I just don't know that they come together as well.
Right.
Whereas like the final, like the end of Shaun of the Dead, sure, I liked it, but like there's a lot of things along the way that I like didn't love that are just like
it took
fine.
Time to build up to it.
Yeah.
So
like but then Hot Fuzz is just like
it's so good.
Hot Fuzz is just good from the start. Like it just that movie understood the assignment perfectly. And I just don't know that this one did, but I still like this one.
Yeah, I mean it's still an entertaining movie for me. I understand why more audiences wouldn't connect to it as well as the other two, though. So
it is a little depressing.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like we've covered it. I mean, these podcasts have been super short, honestly, compared to some of our other content.
No, that's fine. And I like the idea too that they left the apocalypse open to be like, well, we actually have no way of contacting the rest of the world, so we don't know if the rest of the world is dealing with this.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. So right now, out of the trilogy, it is Hot Fuzz, and then Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead, I think, is like a B+ or something, and Hot Fuzz has an A. So, I'm gonna give The World's End like a B because it was still good, but like not my least favorite for sure. I'm gonna stick by that, and I don't I didn't find as many things that tied together
Mhm.
like as in the first two. So
I would still put it above Shaun of the Dead. What did I give Shaun of the Dead? I think I gave that a B.
yeah.
So I would give this like a B plus because like I said, I think all the parts are there. I just don't think that they like come together at the end. Um, but I think they have all the parts there. They just needed to like finesse some things.
Yeah.
But this means that this goes to last place, which I'm like, I hate when I don't get my way. I liked when we did Harry Potter, and my favorite movie got to be the number one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was in agreement with you on that one. As long as we got Goblet of Fire to go at the bottom, or well, close to the bottom.
Right. Listen, Goblet of Fire at least has a cool ending because
the Voldemort
Giant Chess is terrible. But anyway, this series, I understand this movie being at the bottom of the list, although I personally disagree. But I mean, clearly Hot Fuzz is the best of the three of them. Like,
yeah, no question. So, cool. So, I mean, that's the Cornetto trilogy. Hope you enjoyed this weird trip through a trilogy with same actors but unconnected stories aside from Cornetto appearing in all three. So,
yeah, it was funny. The line at the end when he's like, I don't even miss those processed foods. He's saying in a voiceover, and while we're seeing him, the Cornetto like rapper gets caught on a fence right in front of him. He's like, oh.
Yeah, it was so good. And again, like, so Shaun of the Dead had red Cornetto, Hot Fuzz was blue, World's End is green.
Yeah.
So also like, different flavors as well. So I mean, next week we are gonna do the 2 Home Alones, and then we'll be together in Florida. So this is gonna be great. Kevin, anything else you want to say before we say let's boo boo?
If you or anyone you know is struggling with addiction, get help.
Yeah. Also, like, comment, subscribe to both.
Like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on post note, all the things. What am I supposed to do?
We would appreciate the help because we want to be bigger and we want you guys to enjoy all our
more
content.
time with us, especially the two of us, and not the pirate.
Yeah, the pirate that's too busy sailing the 7 seas.
Busy sailing the 7 seas right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully her ship gets caught on some coral and she sinks.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see in 2 weeks.
Oh, imagine if I say that now and then her plane crashed. I would be such an asshole.
Oh my god. I feel bad laughing at that because I don't want to.
Okay, I don't actually want anything bad to happen to Sarah.
No, we know.
I mean, just annoying, but I don't actually want bad things to happen to her. Anyway.
All right. Well, on that note, we will boo-boo this time, and we will see you all next time on the Tribe of Nerds.
Fuck you, Sarah, but please don't die.